hard sometimes, right? People try to make it so difficult. He just ran the football to the opposite direction. And guess what? Got the first down. Yeah. So Sark's brilliance, coupled with a team that's talented and experienced, that's going to be very difficult. Remember, Georgia has to go to Texas. I'm not sure Georgia can beat Texas in Austin.
I don't know if they can. It's funny. It's one of those things in baseball, if you have a great bullpen, you don't need dominant starting pitching.
Yeah, because you got a great bullpen.
If you have a great offensive line in college or pro football, like Detroit, they're just going to lean on you.
Yeah, that's right.
That game against the Rams,
that's what Michigan had last year.
That's right. They just lean on you, and they don't throw a pass against Penn State in the second half on the road, and it's like, white flag. Penn State's like, we don't have the bodies.
And Texas has that.
So Texas has the Michigan O-line with more playmakers.
That's right. I mean, I would be shocked if this team is not right there at the end playing for a national championship.
Okay, I'm gonna say something.
Uh-oh.
And I'll get a lot of pushback, but that's who I am. I believe with all my heart. Okay.
I can't wait for this.
Ohio State, Georgia, Texas. Okay. I'm not.
They're the top three. Oh, I know where you're going. When he gets this look.
USC.
Yeah, there it was.
Along with Alabama is in that 4 spot.
Wait, a timeout. Alabama was in a 1-point game with South Florida in the 4th quarter. Hey, all of a sudden you want to crown them, crown them. What are you talking about?
I don't get caught up in score. I get caught up in winning and style. I'm telling you. First of all, Miller Moss.
You're missing it. You're missing it.
You don't think USC is good?
No. You're good on USC. You're missing it. You're enamored with a shiny object called Alabama. Alabama might be fine, and I'm not saying that they're bad, so stop it. Tide fans. This is not about Alabama.
They're vulnerable.
The 3 most impressive teams to date that are not named Georgia, Texas, or Ohio State.
Are who?
Are USC, you had one of them.
Ole Miss.
Miami,
Cam Ward, something.
and Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee's good.
There you go.
I'll give you Tennessee. I'll give you Tennessee.
And Miami. You're going to give me all 3.
Okay.
Because all 3 are right.
Ago, 2 weeks ago, I said, after the first week, the Labor Day weekend, I said the 2 teams to keep your eye on are Tennessee and USC. So I just want to talk about USC. We know coaching matters.
Oh, yeah.
They went out and got, I would argue, he is going to be the hot coach on the market at the end of the season, D'Anton Lynn. Their defensive personnel is okay. I think they have an NFL safety. I think their edge rusher, Anthony Lucas, can play at the next level. Not a ton of NFL talent. What I worry about is they'll get exposed against an Ohio State, a Texas, a Georgia. They're doing it now on guile, toughness, coaching, and there's limitations. Is that fair?
On the defensive side, I would say that's fair, but it's probably a little better than that. Okay. You know, I mean, they don't have bad players.
No, that's
by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. And the way that they're playing from a structural standpoint and a soundness standpoint, like this team playing that style of defense, I would favor them next week against Michigan in the Big House.
Oh, did they?
You know, so then it becomes real. Then it becomes like, okay, we can play for the Big Ten title. Now, when you think about trying to play those 3 way up top, I mean, do they have enough?
Different.
Maybe. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, ever since he became a head coach, what would it be like if Lincoln Riley actually had a good defense? What would it be like?
Well, that's what this is.
And we're starting to see that. And I've never been worried about their offense. I think their defense is real. D'Anton Lynn is fantastic. And I do find it interesting. And you brought up Bo Nix. He got confused facing Mike McDonald's defense on Sunday as the Broncos faced the Seattle Seahawks. Mike McDonald, Baltimore Ravens-style defense. Jesse Minter, a Baltimore Ravens-style defense. The Ravens, obviously, Baltimore Ravens-style defense. D'Anton Lynn, he was in that room as well. That's where he cut his teeth.
So it's all that Ravens stuff.
It's all of that Ravens stuff, the stuff that Michigan won the national championship with and Baltimore has played well
Joel,
with.
What happens defensively in this league, you get these, remember the old 4-6 defense, like the Bears. College teams ripped it off. Washington was one of it. What happens is you get these 2- and 3-year, Pete Carroll for years, Jimmy Johnson. You get these 2- and 3-year cycles that teams are ahead of other teams on schematically. Right. And I think USC at a college level is ahead of some people.
They're ahead of the curve. Obviously, Michigan was kind of the first one there, and they dominated on defense. They were the best defense in the country a year ago. I go back to, like, early 2000s. You remember the Tampa Bay defense with Monty Kiffin?
Yep.
And then guess what I saw the next year at quarterback in college? Everybody ran Monty Kiffin's defense. That's all we saw was 4-3 cover. We called it 23 Mike or Tampa 2, whatever it was. And you're starting to see that now. And that defense that USC is running, here's the philosophy. And this is coming from the people that built the defense. Number one, how do you play offense on defense? That's number one. I can explain that if you want. Number two is we want to play with a run wall up front. That means the interior defensive line. We want to play with hard edges, which means those edges on the defensive line. And then we want hybrid, versatile athletes everywhere else. The ability to cover, run, and more specifically tackle. And I think the tackling and the improvement tackling from USC from last year to this year has been staggering. And this idea of playing offense on defense, this is what it means. Offenses are going to try to run a few concepts, they'll call it like Z drive or all go or shallow cross or whatever it is. And you can run those out of 100 different formations. So for the defense, it looks like 100 different plays, but for the offense, they're running one. So it's simple for the offense, difficult for the defense. And that's exactly what Baltimore wanted to flip and say, well, no, we want to do that exact same thing and give you a bunch of different defensive structures, but really we're only running a couple of different concepts. So it's easy for us, difficult for you. And that's what that defense really is.
Okay, this is going to be difficult for you, so I want you to get ready and put a seatbelt on.
Okay.
So for years,
buckle up.
For years, I called Iowa the fake ID of college football.
Yeah, that was rude.
Well, it was accurate.
I disagree. They did well.
Yeah, they win 8
for what
games
they were.
and really want to play
10.
a big team and lose by 30.
Wow.
But I will say this: at least it took them 4 or 5 beers before they threw up on themselves. Colorado now can't get through a margarita, and they're tipsy and falling into walls. I hear a lot of chatter. I hear a lot of talk. They're bad. And they're, once again, flush out half the team, bring in a bunch of new transfers. It's starting to feel like a timeshare sales pitch. There's no there. What are they? What is Deion? And I was on board because I like big personalities.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the first premise is, and you would agree with this, regardless of what's happened, he's made them relevant.
No question.
And
that's why I'm on board.
Irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant.
Okay. No one cares about this, but the impact on the university has been staggeringly positive from a admission standpoint, economic impact, not only for the university, but for the city. It is a net giant win.
Yeah.
On the field, it's starting to teeter. I'm with you. It's starting to teeter. This game that they have, they play Saturday night in Fort Collins, of all places, against Colorado State.
They've lost that game before. That game's a weird game.
Well, I didn't lose that game personally.
No.
But I just wanted that to be clear for everybody.
Yeah.
3-0, Bradley Van Pelt. How do you like me now? So that was rude. But this rivalry is one-sided. They hate Colorado. Hate them because they all wanted to go to Colorado. Yeah. Trust me, I was one of them. I wanted Sonny Lubick to recruit me so badly, and he didn't.
Yeah.
So when I had to walk on at Colorado and when I played CSU, I was like, I wanted a piece of that. That's how those players feel about Colorado.
If Colorado loses, is Deion in trouble?
Well, this is the biggest game that they've played in his tenure, because they cannot lose this game. They have to win this game against Colorado State. If they lose this game, it's a signal of regression. You can't do that. You can't regress in year 2. That's not what this is all about.
That's right.
And you can't regress when you've got 2 players that might be picked in the top 10. One for sure going to be selected in the top 5, and Travis Hunter. That can't happen. So this game, there has never been more pressure on Deion Sanders as a coach in his career than there is this week against Colorado State on Saturday night.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it now. You got me all fired up. Hey. Oh, hold on. Screen. Yeah, see, the staff, we went and found an ID of Deion Sanders. And he was trying to get into the clubs, and it's a fake ID. So
now you're saying he's the fake ID?
Kind of personal. Well, all right, let's go to
this. You can't reuse a joke. You got to come up with something else. That's for Iowa.
My career is reusing jokes. You just described my career. Iowa graduated. You can only be 19 so long. They got a job in the accounting firm in Iowa City. Okay.
Oh, man.
So Camp Randall, for the uninitiated, there's an argument on a Saturday night in the fall, Camp Randall's the best place to be in the country.
Or at noon in the fall, Colin.
It is fun. Oh, it's noon game.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, we moved it up for the show. Okay.
It's in the title.
Do they have a shot? Do they have a shot to beat Alabama?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin's better this year than they were a year ago. I think Luke Fickell has built something that is a bit underappreciated, and they're leaning more in on the run game. Now, whether they do that, it remains to be seen. Tyler Van Dyke, their quarterback, is going to have to play like the young Tyler Van Dyke from Miami that everyone thought was a Heisman Trophy candidate.
A couple years ago, everybody loved him.
Yeah, and people thought that he was going to be highly touted in terms of the draft, and it hasn't played out that way, and he's looking to regain that form. Their defense is pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
Well,
Their secondary is very good.
Yeah.
Luke knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
They're tough-minded. And here's the thing. As we learned last week in college football, hey, man, anybody can be beat on any given day. And this would certainly not shock me if Wisconsin's playing a tight one. And that's a great environment. It's a great environment. That's